Get to making with jive or station. When it hits you, yes.
Welcome to Live with the Bougie Duchess and my co-host Cindy Davis. Say hi, Cindy.
Hey, everyone.
There she is. And so today on Hot Topics, we have got a lot going on. So before we start talking about everything, let me pull this up so we can. We have got a lot going on. Wait, let me muffle the sound there before we go any further, so that way at least I can see who's joining us. Hi, Christopher. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us today on Hot Topics. And so that way I can keep an eye on what's going on in the room as I decide to flip back and forth between the topics. If you've got anything that you want to comment on, feel free to comment in the comments section. And as soon as I see it, I'll get to it and I'll read it. Don't mind the burnt finger. It happened while wrapping a birthday gift for one of my students. I tutor privately as a profession on the side. And so, let me wave at Cindy. But I know Cindy's here, so there's no... Hi, Cindy, waving at you. Okay, so first thing on our Hot Topics is presidential candidate Joe Biden has made headline news. And I think this is a good thing because I think every presidential candidate should be making some type of headline news. And we're going to segue in with a sexual assault allegation that has been made against Joe Biden. Then we're going to follow up on treatment for COVID-19 and progress on the vaccine. But we're also going to, earlier this week, I had made a statement about a particular politician that I stated I like the way she thinks, the way she talks, and the way she investigates issues. And when I posted that, my co-host Cindy immediately, well, let Cindy speak. What is it that you said about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Yeah. I said, I like the fact that she, is fighting for her community, However, I didn't really care too much for her response to this Amazon thing, I think that, she's, Amazon can bring a lot of money to a community, and my whole thing is if it was going to bring between 1,500 to 2,000 jobs, why did she shut it down? They're a huge company, and they have a lot of potential to do a lot of growth and do a lot of good for the community. So my whole thing was, would it be good if, especially when it comes from like the Bronx and things like that, I know there's a lot of people that are down and out and don't have jobs. The best thing for people to have right now are a job. And Amazon, especially right now with the COVID-19 epidemic that's going on right now, they are working. They are truly working. And,
right.
But she shut it all down. And all those people, now they don't have jobs, and I just think it's really unfortunate for that. Now, I don't know what the backstory of it all is. I heard there was probably some taxes and all this backroom deals and stuff that were going on. But
I agree. So I did some investigation on Miss Ocasio-Cortez, and this is what I did find out about her. She is a United States representative from New York for the 14th Congressional District. This district includes the eastern part of the Bronx and north central Queens in New York City. She is a member of the Democratic Party. And I got this, so I did my research through talkmedianews.com, which is a reliable source of where you might be able to get some information from. Not all information, but some information. And so some of the things that I wanted to know about was her 10 most controversial comments that has made headline news here of late. And so some of these comments I'm aware of because it's what brought her to my attention to begin with, especially on conditions of ICE detention centers. And so now they use the comment, and, this is the news media, and, all's fair in love and war. And so they took something out of context. She had said, now I've seen the inside of these facilities, and it's not just the kids, it's everyone. People drinking out of toilets, officers laughing in front of members of Congress. And this was pulled from one of her Twitter feeds. And of course, this was taken slightly out of context, but she did say it. So she was also further quoted saying, the U.S. is running concentration camps on our southern border, and that is exactly what they are. That is exactly what they are. They are concentration camps. The fact that concentration camps are now institutionalized practices in the home of the free is extraordinarily disturbing, and we need to do something about it.
And before we go any further with that one, what's going on with that? With the COVID-19, like, we're so focused on us, but from the last video that I saw, these people were huddled all together because I know that a lot of people have seen the videos of, all these refugees and all these people.
That's correct. There's no social distancing going on in these locations.
There isn't. What's going on? I mean, the outbreak has got to be, because Trump don't care.
No.
So,
no.
No.
Not for border jumpers, honey. No, you don't care. No.
Yeah. What's going on? Like, as if we're talking about bringing down the COVID-19, is it running rampant right now in these concentration camps that's going on? Because, and are these guards and everything bringing it home to their loved ones? Like, how is it spread? Like, how are we being mindful of that?
Yeah. Well, I saw a news report the other day about a federal penitentiary right here at the Channel Islands Federal Penitentiary, and close to 49% of the inmate population has tested positive for COVID-19. Now, they didn't say anything about the population of the guards that are, or the commanding officers. I don't know what you call these individuals that watch these individuals, but they are in close proximity to these inmates. And there's an outbreak right there in a facility where they're supposed to be taken care of. And are they being provided with, and I'm sure that she is the type of congresswoman, representative that would be looking into this kind of stuff and really ramping up the fire underneath, officials about investigating all of this stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'd like to see more of that going on with our politicians, that they would investigate these situations more often and hold our beloved president accountable. I don't love him, but there's folks out there that do, and so be it, Yeah. But I personally, like I said, I don't agree with all of her politics, but I like this woman. She will light a little fire underneath not only the news media, but the public, politicians, everybody concerned, and the mud starts to fly. And I've said this once, I will say it 1,000 times. That's what a politician is supposed to do. When their lips are moving, they are lying, they are misquoting, they are making statements that just incite the public. That is their job. That and getting to the bottom of shit.
Yeah.
So, and I have always believed that out of politicians, So we've got that going on. Also, here she addresses the Amazon CEO with Jeff Bezos and his employees. Now, I think that this is she just lit a little fire under him, and he responded. So, she had said something about if his being a billionaire is to predicate on paying people starvation wages and stripping them of their ability to access health care. Now, she just made a statement on that fact that his workers take food stamps. So I'm paying for him to be a billionaire. I think it's certainly a part of the equation. When you have a very large workforce and you underpay every single person, then you also participate in taking billions of dollars from the government subsidies. That could be a part of it. So I think that's what she was quoted in saying. So what it was he hires them, but he doesn't hire them as full-time employees, which would qualify them for health care and all of those other benefits. He was hiring them up to 30 hours a week and rotating those shifts. He's a smart businessman. This man did not get filthy rich overnight for no reason at all. He was probably intending to hire a whole workforce at 30 hours, a week, so that way he doesn't have to pay for their health care, doesn't have to pay for a lot of things, and they could still collect food stamps. And that's where she got caught in the controversy, because
I think that Amazon is at the point now where they can start to treat their employees a lot better.
Well, lately they've been in the news lately. There's been some hoo-ha going on over there. Not all of them are striking, but a few of them have.
Amazon should be able to at least pay your people $25 an hour.
Yeah. Oh, I love Amazon. Honey, I order from Amazon. They're at least 3 or 4 times a week there comes a shipment from Amazon to my front door.
Yeah. There should be no reason why people are not being paid $25 an hour.
Right.
And health benefits and, all types of benefits. It doesn't make sense. Like $15 an hour, yeah, it's nice. $25 an hour.
Even better. Better. This guy's a billionaire. He's not ever going to know a rough day in his life ever again.
Yeah.
So,
people are going to want to knock down the door to come work for you if you treat your employees right, and pay them right, I don't see why $25 an hour starting is unreasonable. Amazon isn't going anywhere. You may be getting a tax from Trump, but Trump is going to fizzle out. If we can get him out of the election in a few more months, he'll be gone. And ain't nobody gonna be thinking about that,
Yeah. Let's hope. Got to keep your fingers crossed. You never know with this guy. I think one of the things now, foreign policy is one of those things that I try not to discuss too much about, because I have so many friends that are from other countries, and I have a great many of my friends are Jewish, and she made a comment about cutting aid to Israeli, and called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a Trump-like figure, and so I'm going to steer away from this particular comment. But she is taking up the flag for Palestinians, and I believe that they need just as much representation. I think there are a lot of people in the Middle East that have been done dirty, not only the Palestinians, but Lebanon and many of these countries are not a happy place to live. It's just a very rough situation. I'm not quite sure I'm not very well informed on taking up a position there. So I'm going to leave a lot of that alone. I do believe we need to take up the fight for climate change, and she has taken up that situation. She does feel that it is a threat on the rest of the world, and especially here in America. And I think especially the Eastern Seaboard, they see flooding all the time. I have family that lives in Miami and family that lives on the East Coast, and progressively over the last couple of decades. The hurricanes have gotten worse. The damage is getting, and I think it's just because of greenhouse gases,
Yeah.
And so we're even seeing erratic weather here in Los Angeles, So I think it's kind of a different situation. Let's see some of the other stuff. She's this I did love, and I saw this. I posted my thing on my news feed about her criticism of spending at the Pentagon, and literally they're spending like thousands of dollars on something that costs $54 to make. I wish I could get a contract like that. I could sell the Pentagon some mascara, some military mascara.
Yeah.
Just pay $54 for it. I'll buy it at the dollar store for $1. Just repackage it. I would love a hustle like that. But then I'd have her on my ass. I know she would just be done with that. And then, of course, somebody that does all of that talking, just like us, I get tongue-tied with my words. She was quoted as making a misstatement in defining the three branches of U.S. government. And she said it was three chambers of Congress, and that's not true. There's an executive branch, and then there's the Congress, and then there's a judicial branch. Those are the three branches of government. So, but that's an easy mistake to have made. And as far as politicians are going, it's hard to like a politician, but if I was going to, especially strong women in politics, it's just hard to find one that's got some type of principle about what she is doing. And while I may not agree with everything she does, I didn't agree with everything Hillary did, but overall, if I'm going to have a snake in the grass of a politician in my corner, I would like it to be her. So I just, like I said, I really don't care for those kind of people, but if that's the deal, I'm tossing in my hat for her. So there we have it. So speaking about politics and controversy in politics, this morning's news was just ramped up about this Biden sexual assault thing. Now, I'm going to tell you, I think there is a big difference between Biden's accusation and the numerous accusations of Donald Trump and the sexual assaults that have gone on with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so that's, for me, there is a horrendous amount of difference between one and the other. So let's get to looking at some of the timeline about this. So I think the claim is a former Senate staffer of Joe Biden claims that he sexually assaulted her in 1993. Biden said Friday that unequivocally it never happened. It never happened. And so I have a tendency of, first thing a politician should always do is deny it and then investigate it and then deny the investigation. This is the problem though. He's got an opponent, President Trump, who's going to wag the dog on this, and he is going to spin this to his advantage. Now, I don't think that this man should even engage in this conversation because he's got so many skeletons in his own closet that are still unsettled,
Well, my whole thing is Trump can't, like you said, he can't say anything when it comes to this type of,
behavior.
Topic. You know what I mean? But my whole thing is, first off, the Democrats are going to start to realize what they're dealing with. Trump doesn't give a fuck about any of this. If I bet you he's going to try and go there with this issue. You know what I mean? And
well, it already said that he's trying to weaponize this case against the Democratic presumptive nominee. So
yeah,
so
he's going to have another press conference with this woman. You know.
Oh yeah, this is the best he's got. This is the best ammunition he's got because he's got no ammunition against this man.
However, I think this is a Russian playbook because how convenient for her to come out right after he gets the nomination. How convenient is this?
Well, that's when all cockroaches come out.
You know, she didn't come out when the nomination came out. She came out right after, you know, and...
Just remember, he's been investigated like this thoroughly before he was nominated as vice president.
Yeah.
Why
didn't this come out then?
Well, it may have, but there may have been no merit to it. So, number one of the things that Biden has said is he has asked Congress, if there is a complaint, release the complaint. So make it public. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If there is a complaint and it does get released, then the conversation will start to really ramp up. But if they look back and they can't find a complaint, let's say that this woman, for whatever reason, didn't really file a complaint. Victims do all kinds of crazy things for crazy reasons because they're going through emotional moments. Not to say that it didn't happen, because it might have happened, but let's just say that she was, you know, in a victim state of mind and she didn't file a complaint. This thing will die down and fall by the wayside because then it will have no merit.
I'm going to say this, and people aren't going to like what I'm going to say. Okay,
say it, girl. Say it.
I've been a victim of. I've been raped. Okay, so I know.
Me too.
Like.
Me too.
However, I didn't wait 27 years to report it. Okay, I don't care if he's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's a police officer or what. If I am raped, I am going to call the police the minute that it happens. There is no reason. I don't care. No. Okay.
I don't think the accusation is rape. It's sexual assault, which is just a little bit different. They say most sexual assaults happen by people that you know. So
if it's a problem, I need to report it immediately.
This is true. I too was a victim of rape. It happened via a half brother. It started at the age of 4. It ended around the age of 8. And I never spoke of it until I think I broke down with my therapist. I was maybe 49 years old. It was right before we started engaging in discussion for gender affirming surgery. And she looked at me and she could not believe that I had just kept that bottled up inside of me for 41 years like that. It just is what it is, you know.
I think it's a little bit different when you're a child, you know.
Well, yeah, no. It's correct. Absolutely correct. Different set of circumstances. Everybody has a difference. No one sexual assault or no one rape is exactly the same as another. And if somebody wants to say that, I'm the first one to say that is bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're in the Senate, when you're an adult and you're grown and you know right from wrong, there comes a point when you know right from wrong. You know that this person is doing something is wrong and you don't like it. There comes a point where it's like, I got to stand up for myself and I got to fight for myself, and this is not okay, and I'm not going to allow this person to do this.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And allow them to be accountable for their actions. Okay? If it's Joe Biden, if Trump grabbed me by the pussy, trust me, I'm going to say something about it. You know, and I wish he would, because first off, I'm going to take a baseball bat and crack him one, and then I'm going to report him. Okay? Like, I stand up for myself. Now, part B of this, I believe women. I think that, if you've been sexually assaulted, I think that you should say something. However, in the political climate, there's a risk that we're taking right now with this, and the risk is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, okay, gay rights, healthcare, okay, immigration, okay. These are the 4 topics that we're taking a chance on right now, okay? Now, if we believe her and say Joe Biden, I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden based on this. We're going to build a wall, okay? Women will have to go in the back alley and have coat hanger abortions, okay? Gay rights and gay marriage will be non-existent again. We are going to be going back to days. We give them another 4 years, okay? Because Gorsuch and Kavanaugh already went to the Supreme Court with an agenda, okay? And these are the type of things that we really have to really focus on, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg cannot go another 4 years. She's already said it, okay? So based on that, we are in a very,
precarious situation. Yes, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
That Biden is going to go in the White House and put his hand up on somebody's dress? No. Okay.
No, I don't think he's ever been that kind of man. So.
Yeah. Did he do that when he was in the White House with Obama? No.
No. I think if he was that type of man, that this situation would have happened more often than she would not be the only one. Just like, take into consideration with Donald Trump, how it happened with him, this situation has happened multiple times. Just like, hold on, let me, there we go. This situation has happened multiple times with him. And so we've seen it pop up with multiple victims. And so, and I think that the character of a man is obvious in so many different ways. And once again, I just don't see Biden being this type of individual. It should have cropped up, like I said, during Obama's, when Obama was running, and it didn't. And maybe because he was just vice president, there wasn't so much limelight on him. But, so now it's popped up, I think that we will be able to deal with it and, take into some of the things, I think Biden has taken a really good approach with Reade. He's not interested in shutting her up. He says, let her talk, let her say what she wants to say, let her get her story out there. I thought that was very admirable of him. He also instructed Congress, if you've got a complaint that she filed, put that out there, so he is obviously, he knows what he's been up to, and he is not afraid of the truth.
And my another thing is like the women's movement, because when Trump went into the White House, there was the Women's March, okay? Everybody was wearing pink top hats and all this, and everybody was pro-woman, and have we taken in consideration, because I wouldn't put it past a woman, honey, to try and weaponize sexual assault. Okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I have believed this. Listen, I'm going to say something. People may not like what I say, but I have believed that women have ruled the world from flat on their back with their legs spread wide open. When a man falls in love, his nostrils will flare for her. He would murder his own brother for her, and women know where their power lies, and it was an unfortunate truth in ancient times they may have been the weaker sex, but they were the smarter sex. And they used what they had available to them. It's a horrible way of presenting the power of femininity, but it allowed them to survive. And it's,
because, the power of the vagina, it's a male men have weakness when it comes to a vagina. You know what I mean?
They certainly do. They certainly do.
And
time and time again.
I
mean, come on. Look at Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And this is a man that's been proven to, and, I've had a complicated situation the way I think about Bill Clinton, because I always kind of felt that Hillary knew what was going on, and that Hillary looked at Bill and told Bill, Chelsea stays an only child. Do we understand each other, Bill? Mm-hmm. And he looked at Hillary and he said, I certainly do, Hillary. I certainly do. Mm-hmm. And that's why no kid has ever popped up. But the hanky-panky with him has been, been going on for quite some time with Bill. But I think it's always been going on with full knowledge of his wife, because some women have a true partnership with their husbands. Mm-hmm. I unfortunately, have had very loose morals in the past. And when I dated a guy, I always told him, if you want to play around, this is the rules. It cannot be with one of my girlfriends. I don't want to be sitting across the table from my girlfriend and hear about the amusement park that's going on in your pants. Because if I do such a thing, I will tell them the real amusement park is when they roll you right over. And my boyfriends have looked at me and said, you wouldn't do that to me, would you? And I said, just try me once and you will see. So.
And, I'm wondering, because I feel, I don't know. I just don't think that love is the same as it used to be when it was so traditional. You know what I mean? Love and all that has really changed, and, everything is so hypersexual nowadays. Everything, like I go on my Instagram and it's all sex. I'm talking about sex, and there's women. I go on Fashion Nova, love their clothes and everything, but it's all sex. From the outfits, everything, if you're in a relationship with a man, he's gonna,
Well, I'm telling you, women only have so many tools available to them if they don't catch a man's attention. Come on now. Here lately, you got to admit, my online presence has changed dramatically. I used to get on here and my hair would be a mess. I wouldn't be wearing not a stitch of makeup or anything like that. And I've started changing things. I glammed things up a little bit. I'm catering to an audience. We only have so many tools available to us. And either I'm going to start marketing myself for success, or I'm going to stay that ratty old girl, not giving two shits about anything. And it's going to show, because see, I'm getting ready to start launching a product line here, and nobody's going to want to buy a product line from the disheveled mess that I was just a couple of weeks ago. They're going to want to, and they're going to say, ooh, she looks good. And they're going to think, I buy her product line, I'm going to start looking good like she looks. And they're just going to make that equation. There's no truth in that thought process, but it is about image. It is about looks. It is about what you present. It has nothing to do with the merits of what's going on inside, And so for whatever reason, Tara Reade is going through something right now. She may be having a midlife crisis. Who knows what? If it's true or not is for the public to decide, and it's going to play out in the media. And, I think for the country's sake, we need a change in a president. We really do. And we need a president that's a little bit more honorable than the SOB we got in the office right now. Although, just so you know something, the SOB that we've got in the office right now, he meets all the criterias. He's a liar. He's a son of a bitch. Those are the requirements for a good president. I'm not saying that in my eyes I think he's a good president, but I'm just telling you, he meets the requirements that it takes to be a good president. He is a liar. You cannot trust him. Don't turn your back on him, and don't leave him around your wife.
Yeah. I feel like not only do we have to, save our reputation as the United States between Canada and Mexico.
Oh, we have no reputation with them. They laugh at him.
Yeah, we've got to just our reputation around the world has got to be repaired. When he went to the G7 and he's pushing world leaders out of the way and just.
I saw that. He pushed the Merkel, the German chancellor, right out of the way.
Yeah.
He's got no respect for women. He has absolutely no respect for women. This man is just, a different kind of individual. You heard what he said about his own daughter, Yeah. So pretty that he would date her if it wasn't his own daughter, I mean, what is wrong with this man,
Yeah.
So.
But like I said, we're going to have to, the women's room movement is really going to have to really, come, go to the boardroom and sit down and, or maybe I need to be educated. I don't know. But how is it that we are going to, real sexual assault? Because sexual assault can be weaponized. And, I don't think, there has to be this, because all women, they could be believed, but, I think the facts really need to be played out.
Well, Kamala Harris was quoted and said in an interview with the San Francisco Chronicle that Reade has the right to tell her story. But she also added that, and she believes that. But she also believes Joe Biden has the right to tell his story too. So this is something that's going to be played out in the news media. I think it's good that it's vetting now. It needs to be settled because I'm going to tell you something, Cindy. November is going to roll around faster than ever before. And our voting policies may be changing really dramatic. If COVID-19 ramps back up in the fall, we might not even be going to the voting booth. It might be all vote by mail,
Yeah.
And there might be the hot topics at that time might be about voter fraud and all kinds of other crazy crap going on. So,
I was laughing about this because I was like, you know what? It really wouldn't matter who the nominee was going to be. There was going to be a woman.
And that's another thing too that I kind of wanted to discuss is who is Biden thinking of, for his vice president now. There is some hoo-ha-ha about him choosing a female vice president. And I think it's time that we start getting a woman up there in positions of leadership, We have them in the Senate. We have them in, in the Congress. I think, we need, something in the executive branch, a vice president. I would love to see a female president. Personally, the candidate, and I said this last week, the candidate that I want running for president is not running for president. And so, somebody instant messaged me and said, is that, Bernie Sanders? And I said, no, it's not Bernie Sanders. I would want Michelle Obama to run for president. That's who I would like to see as president, because I think she's a no-nonsense kind of gal. And while she's an attorney and she's got the potential and capabilities of lying through omission, which is another form of lying, but it is, nonetheless, that could be a situation. I think she would be an honorable individual as president, and
Yeah.
I would definitely.
I'm all, good for, Michelle Obama. I think she'd be a great person, to be vice president. However, I don't think that she's going to take it.
No, she's too interested in her family.
Yeah, she's more family, and I don't want to. I think that she's the type of person I don't want to. She wouldn't want to overshadow her husband, and his legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just don't see her doing that. I also want to, if it's going to be a woman, I want it to be a motherfucking tough woman. Like, I want somebody that's going to go in there and rock the house.
Agreed.
Like, I don't want somebody that's going to be all smiles and trying to be all, because one of the things about Hillary, that I love Hillary to death, but I really wish that she would have been like more like, you know what, especially at that debate, and him all, being behind her. And so like, back the fuck, like back up. So, like tell, and stop being so polished, because she wasn't very polished. And, and at that press conference, like if she tried to put this strength thing, but if it's affecting you, say it. You know what? I think it was I think it was just absolutely disgusting what you just did, and that show that you just put on was absolutely unbecoming and absolutely disgusting. Like say it, and I'm gonna make, for all women that stood by their husbands, I'm gonna fight for you, because in the name of love, like this is for better or for worse. This is what for better or for worse looks like, and I'm gonna stand by my man because I made a vow. I don't like it, but for better, for worse, for sickness and in health, I'm gonna, this is what love looks like, Now, if he disrespects me again, he gonna lose me. Beyonce said the same thing,
Yeah.
Jay-Z cheated on her, and I don't get into relationships all the time, but it really lets me know, like, if Beyonce could get cheated on, damn, she has everything. She does not need Jay-Z at all, but she got cheated on.
Yes.
And once again, it goes to this type of environment that we're in, that no matter what, like, Beyonce could get cheated on. Damn. Someone who any man would be lucky enough to have a woman like Beyonce. That it really, had me take a look at the perspective of, for sickness and health till death do we part. Maybe this man has a sickness that I want to stand by him, and let him know, you do this again, I'm going to leave you. Now, once, okay. Twice, you're going to lose me. Because she doesn't need him. She does not need him. She has millions of dollars.
Oh, yes. She's a powerhouse on her own. You're right. She does not need him.
And if she leaves him, she'll have another man just like that and be all in his face like, look. Sure.
So, okay. So not to get too caught up in Beyonce and Jay-Z, although I do love them. Let's switch topic over to the COVID-19 vaccine and treatments that are going on. So here's exactly where we're at with the vaccine and treatment on COVID-19. Scientists around the world are working on potential treatments and vaccines for the new coronavirus disease known as COVID-19. Several companies are working on antiviral drugs, some which are already in use against other illnesses to treat people already who have COVID-19. Other companies are working on vaccines that could be used as a preventative measure against the disease. With confirmed COVID-19 cases worldwide surpassing 2.7 million and continuing to grow, scientists are pushing forward with the effort to develop vaccines and treatments to slow the pandemic and lessen the disease's damage. Some of the earliest treatments will likely be drugs that are already approved for conditions and or have been tested on other viruses. Now, they did this and they fast-tracked something called hydroxychloroquine, or chloroquine, which is for malaria. And they pushed into production. The FDA issued an emergency use declaration. And so they produced about 30 million doses of this stuff, and 1 million doses of chloroquine were donated to the nation's strategic national stockpile. Come to find out, this medication was distributed to doctors and adults for teens hospitalized with COVID-19. And when clinical trials were done, it proved that it was not effective. You know, it's an anti-malaria drug. They used it for malaria, but when they started going further with it in clinical trials, they found out this drug is not effective, and the FDA dropping these restrictions and making this emergency use declaration was a big mistake, because the European Union said there was no evidence, and in some cases, this hydrochloroquine killed people. Period.
You know, my whole thing is, when did Donald Trump become a medical doctor? You know,
he's just desperate to make that impact. He wants his legacy. He wants his legacy to be, I stopped COVID-19 dead in its tracks. And that legacy won't come true if come November 19th or November 3rd, when elections come around, if somebody else gets elected in there and this COVID-19 is still going on, that won't be his legacy. His legacy will be that two-timer that bankrupted the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is in late April, Gilead, which is a leading big pharma company that makes drugs for cancer and HIV. Gilead Science announces that trials had been terminated due to low enrollment and they found that their initial studies were inconclusive. But then a few days later, and I think that this might be some more of that Trump stuff being ramped up there again. You know, who knows though? It might be. But a few days later, the company announced another trial of remdesivir, overseen by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, had met its primary endpoint, which means there is significant change on people that were given the drug versus people that were given something else or a placebo. So Dr. Anthony Fauci, a trusted source of the Institute director, told reporters that the trial produced a clear-cut positive effect, diminishing time to recover. So ordinarily, I think it took like 14 days to recover. You take remdesivir, and now you can recover in 10 days or 11 days compared to the 15 days. So shaves off 4 days, which, you know, for a lot of people coughing and hacking away, that, you know, that could save a lot of, you know, I mean, I've had the flu before. If I cough for 2 weeks straight, I'm hurting. So, but there's more details to be released on that kind of information. Despite the conflicting results, the FDA issued they also issued another one of those emergency use declarations for this particular drug. I just kind of think that, you know, the FDA has these regulations for a reason. You know, it saves lives in the long run. I would hate to think that this particular drug might have some, you know, long-term effect. You know, you start taking it now, 3-4 years from now you've got some type of little cancer growth going on the lung or something that might be a direct result of a side effect from this particular medication. But this medication has been used before for something else. So they've got a lot of data on it. So it does look kind of promising.
You know, but, you know, when you start getting symptoms, Trump would be probably long gone, you know, and, you know, I just, like I said, I don't think that Trump needs to be on the, you know, I would like to see somebody in a medical profession telling me, or it come from my doctor. I don't need to hear it from a politician tell me what I need to be taking. I think that's the most dangerous thing to ever happen. Just like, he said, in just, disinfectant, into our veins,
Yeah.
That's for external use. That's not for internal use. Bleach cleans the outside. Yeah, you could bleach the floor, but you're talking about your body. Like,
Yeah.
it's insanity, and I got sober so I could be, so I can have a sense of sanity, and it seems like, people that are allegedly sober in the White House, they're giving out insane advice, and it just...
There you have it. Yep. So let's move on to our next topic. This crazy little statement out of Trump claims he's seen evidence linking the coronavirus to a Wuhan lab after his intelligence chief says the virus was not man-made. So there's a conflict going on here between his intelligence chief and some other report that he is saying. And I'm going to go. It came out of from a reputable magazine, Forbes.com. So if you want to look it up, you can look it up there. It's the Office of the Director of National Intelligence releases a statement on Thursday saying the U.S. intelligence community concurs that the wide scientific consequences that the COVID-19 virus was not man-made and generally or genetically modified. But President Trump did seem aware that the assessment during the media briefing later in the day, Trump wouldn't commit to agreeing with that statement, then pushed on why he felt confident the novel coronavirus originated from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Trump vaguely said, "I can't tell you that. I'm not allowed to tell you that." Now, here is the President of the United States taking orders from somebody, which I'm not cool with, saying that I'm not allowed to tell you something. He is the President of the United States. If he wants to tell us something, he certainly can tell us something if that's what he's getting ready to do. But anyhow, enough out of that. That man is just as crazy as the next topic in Hot Topics. So, and I know many of you probably rejoiced over these headlines. I think they were first reported by TMZ, but the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-Un, was reported dead. Through Chinese social media whispered that his doctors were too scared to operate, so he died, and a Chinese medical team couldn't arrive in time to save him. An apparent cautionary tale of being casualty over fearsome powers. So, but they released some recent pictures of the North Korean leader at a fertilizer factory. Now, ain't that some shit? He's at a fertilizer factory looking remarkably cheerful, especially around the stench, for a man killed off by rumors and some of the world's media last week. These will be carefully staged and timed photos, but what we can learn about the North Korea rumor mill from this and past episodes. So,
my whole thing about this is I don't give a fuck if he's alive or dead. I would prefer for him to be dead. And the way he treats his people is absolutely unacceptable. And I do not like how our president is, "Oh, I wish him well."
Chummy with him, huh? Chum. Yeah, yep, I don't like it either.
He's better off dead, for his people, so that they can have a better life. It just makes my skin crawl. The way that he just wants to cuddle up to this person like, "Oh, I hope he's okay." fuck him.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he cuddles up to Putin the same way too, you know?
Yeah, I can't stand it. It makes me absolutely sick. You know, ugh, ooh.
He picks a dictator to be friends with. I don't get it, you know. So for me, I've had a hard time with, understanding this kind of situation going on, an ongoing situation with, our leader, the world leaders, and it's just one of these things that will get played out. I certainly do believe there's a good team and a bad team, and I am not of those individuals that believe that our president is on the good team or the right side. Just don't like him, and anyhow, we're coming to an end here. We've gone the full hour, the whole stretch, the whole enchilada. And I would like to thank my co-host Cindy Davis for joining us. And I wish all of you well and happiness and health, and take good care. And I will see you. So we're going to keep doing this regularly on Sunday at noon with my Hot Topics. And I've enlisted Cindy to be my permanent co-host, so she will help me put together some Hot Topics for you next week. We will post things to the Bougie Duchess page. Check it out. Please feel free to be a willing participant. If you see something that you want on Hot Topics, shoot us an instant message or a private message, either to myself or to Cindy, and we will certainly discuss it and try and make it come true. So until next week, bye-bye, my little Dutchies. Mwah! See you later.